Hello and welcome to Colony Talks with Colony Drop. I'm your boy Zappa, professional stage ninja, and we're here to talk about the new Super Robot Wars game that was announced recently. Super Robot Tyson X. Unfortunately, I can't quite give a live reaction since I saw it about a week ago while I was rearranging Gunpla. In the meantime, I can talk about how I feel about each series in the game, be it good or bad, and there's a lot to be said. I'll be going out of order from what was presented in the first PV, more or less grouping them by series and relevance. First up are the Mazins, Mazinger Z, Mazin Kaiser, and Mazinger Zero. Since this PV dropped, I've been working on finishing up Robot Wars V, so I finally have some opinion on Zero, and I've seen Kaiser in older Robot Wars. I just think it's a shame we never got a continuation of the most recent anime. Has there even been a single Robot Wars where a Mazinger didn't appear? Here we have our good old grandpa's robot, hard-hitting and tanky, but I have no special view on ye old Z. I wonder how they're going to work with Zero and Kaiser, if it'll be a power-up or a completely different unit. At best, I'd really like to see two Kojis from different timelines side by side, which is something all this dimensional buffoonery is really missed out on. Besides, isn't Mazin Kaiser, Zero, and Z all from different timelines anyway? Also, Mazin Emperor G is here. Neat! Next up, both Dunbines. Sadly, this will be utterly brief as I've yet to play any SRW with Dunbine in it, and with no research done, on purpose, I don't know what the difference between the two shows are. I did get to touch some Dunbine action back on Another Century's episode 3, but that aside, nothing. So for me, this means an entirely new experience with new units. Next, Cross Ange. Regardless of opinions on the show itself, I feel it got pretty well covered here, even in those scenes. However, the issue I had, which I hope to see fixed, was that, like many shows with a lot of support cast fighters, outside of a handful, most of the casts are carbon copies with little to no variance in what they do. The same gun, the same shot, the same animation. Hopefully we get some variety next, maybe with more personality in the attack animations, or less units, or maybe the show will only be run from a certain point in the story to make room for everyone else. We'll soon see. Next on the list, Char's counterattack. It's new Gundam. Perhaps in this game we'll get some of the plot, but otherwise, maybe this new Gundam is just for show. Also, hi new Gundam. Okay. Titan 3! Has there been a console entry that didn't have Banjo? I'm fine with this. He's become such a staple like Amuro and Koji and someone's missing. I love Titan 3. It's classic and it's just out there. But I'd really like to see the story happening again. What little of it there actually is. Gundam Formula 91. All I really want to say about this is I want my beam spit back. Code Geass. Geese? Geese! Only Season 2, but I'm genuinely indifferent on this. But it seems likely we get back Zero's stat buffing skills, so would that mean status effects are going to have a bigger role here? Gundam Double Zeta. Shame that Char's counterattack exists because odds are that we will not get any Double Zeta plot out of this game, unless there's time-space buffoonery afoot. Also, another chance for Haman to be playable, or at least unlockable, or at least present at all, unlike in V. But Maneva and Haman just aren't allowed to coexist, are they? Rolling back a timeline entry, Zeta Gundam. Oh boy, am I tired of seeing this in my Robot Wars games, lumping it with SIEG and CCA with titles I'm tired of seeing already. On the other hand, maybe, perhaps, we can get the plot. I really did enjoy the representation in Z since it was actually represented and not just wholly post-series, but with Double Zeta and CCA, yeah. No. Tengen Toppa! Gurren Lagann! And yet, while it's cool to see again, I'm not hyped. It did all the beats did before already, I just can't see it as much more than a big beefy face smasher. I mean driller. Next, Brave Express Might Gain. Another returner from SRWV, but I think I'm good. I'm just generally indifferent on this one. It's not my favorite Brave anyway. Crossbone Gundam, the Steel 7. I barely remember reading this one, but I know that I did. I think the original and Skullheart just left more of an impact on me. I think I recall it doing some pretty cool stuff farther on Another Century's episode R, but really, it's no B Gundam or Old Man Judo. And now, new mobile report Gundam Wing Endless Waltz. Add this to the pile of stuff I'm tired of seeing. For such good units in the show, I've always been so underwhelmed by what the units even do in-game. Wing Zero and Heavy Arms aside, I just can't get any mileage out of the rest of the team. Now finally, the new boys. G no Kena. Oops, sorry. But it's time for more Tomino fun times. I'm excited to see this. And no, it's not Orpheus' turn yet. The biggest thing I want to see out of this is my Gundam waifu, Mick Jack. She and Klimnik are not totally enemies, so I hope to see them as standard join-ups or at least unlocks. Otherwise, let's go! Next, Buddy Fight. I mean Buddy Complex. I watched this back when it first came out, so I barely remember any of it, but what I do remember is going to have to bring some sort of new sync system to the table. The mechs better perform when the two buddies, Dio and Alba, are getting along. Less getting along and more like, well, we'll see. Nadia, Secret of the Blue Water. I haven't watched this, but I think we have the old VHS tapes laying around somewhere. The first time a Miyazaki property gets to be in a Robot Wars game too. Here it seems to be taking up the same role as the Yamato and V. Big, shooty super carrier that'll get the team across time, space, and other places. And finally, Mashin Hiro Wataru. I'm always down for some older super robots, and between now and the game's release, I'll be giving this a view since the current anime season seems a little bit weak to me. But then, like an RKO out of nowhere! Masaki Endo, Psybuster, pre-order DLC! Doesn't even have to fit into the plot. Much like Huckbine and Grungust and V, Masaki can just kind of wander in and be there. It's fine! He gets lost all the time. But with that, that wraps up my opinions, thoughts, views, all that jazz on the first Robot Wars Cross PV, or X if you prefer. I prefer X. That said, it shouldn't have taken me this long to get it out. Cosplay happened. But with that said, have a great night. SIEG ZEON.
The competition ain't on the level that we on.